force for the world's 5th largest economy. And our mission is to exceed expectations of the communities we serve.
And by
Perez.
has. Thank you. Yeah, again, the cost of an agenda now. We're sealed by staff and that's
Anticipated revenue. Guess what? Out in Cal City.
we're going to close the public handling this matter. We are all.
There's one absent, Supervisor Flores.
And some comments to make. To the Aging and Adult Services Department and was reclassified as a fiscal support assistant. In January 2022, she was reclassified as a fiscal support technician, a position she held until her retirement. Ms. Switzer's primary responsibilities consisted, but were not provider data in the case management information payroll system, issuing timesheets, travel claim forms, and workweek agreements as needed, answering questions from clients and care providers over the phone or with in-person appointments, assisting care providers and clients to fully understand violations and how to avoid them, processing violation and time travel paperwork, distributing notice of actions when required, assisting care providers and clients with the electronic timesheet process, issuing payment corrections, processing county and state-related payroll forms and electronic service portal registrations. Ms. Switzer also assisted with training all new personnel hired for the Supportive Independent Provider team, the SIP team, which coordinates all care provider payroll functions to ensure all IHSS providers receive correct payment from the state. Jeremy, what did you do back with this department? Her dedication to the clientele served with the Supportive Independent Provider team and her commitment to serving the public has earned her the respect and admiration of both her peers and colleagues. She always went well above and beyond to assist and resolve the issues that her clientele were experiencing. Her many contributions to the Aging and Adult Services Department will be greatly missed, and she is obviously wished the very best in her future endeavors. She will officially retire, it says here, Cindy, August 22nd of 2030. Is that right? I'm getting 5 more years out of you. 2025. Now, therefore, it is resolved that the Board of Supervisors, the County of Kern, State of California, does hereby honor and commend Cindy Switzer upon her retirement with 35 years of dedicated service to the County of Kern, and it's dated today, May 13th, 2025, signed by all the members of the board. And I will turn that over to Jeremy. First, I'll hand this off to Cindy, and I'll turn it over to Jeremy to make a few comments. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair Couch, or Supervisor Couch, Madam Chair, and members of the board for this proclamation in support of Cindy's 35 years of dedicated service to the department. Normally, she's very quick to catch those errors, working with things about that 5-year difference, but you know, we'll give her a little bit of break today because she is heading into retirement. Cindy has been a staple for our department for as long as I have been at the department. She was, on before I even started with this department. So it has definitely been a privilege to work with her for this many years. I'm pleased to bring up Michelle Gomez, who she is a program director and has overseen Cindy's work for some time.
Today we honor someone truly special, Cindy Switzer, who is retiring after an incredible 35 years of dedicated service with the county. Cindy has seen many changes throughout her 35 years with the county, from the enormous growth that has taken place at Aging and Adult Services, to entering providers' timesheets manually, to helping convert both providers and clients to the electronic method. Throughout all the changes, if there was a method Cindy was not completely happy with, you could hear her saying, "Now why didn't anyone ask me how things should be done?" Followed by her infamous, "But why do what makes sense?" Cindy always tells her fellow coworkers, we have to be counselors, peacemakers, and mediators. Cindy definitely had her regulars that did not want anyone else to help them out but Cindy. So Cindy truly went above and beyond to resolve the issues for them, and her fan club is truly going to miss her. One thing we'll never forget are all her little quotes that we would hear throughout the day. Cindy always seemed to have the right saying at the right time, words that made us all laugh. We're sad to see her go, but we're so incredibly happy about what lies ahead. Cindy, you've earned this time to relax, to travel, and spend time with your family. Thank you, Cindy, for everything you've given over the years. We wish you all the joy and adventure that retirement can bring, and you will greatly be missed. Congratulations.
All right. Now your swan song, after all that lead up.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. I just want to say that I'm very proud and grateful to have to receive this recognition for my hard work and effort over this 35-year period. I also want to share this honor with my fellow county SEIU co-workers who, without their help and their assistance and their hard work and perseverance over this 35-year period, would not have made this moment possible for me, because collectively we've worked really hard, and I want to accept this not only on my behalf, but on their behalf too, as a show of our support for each other. And I am, as I said, very grateful for this honor, and I feel very humbled and extremely grateful, and thank you for this recognition.
Thank you. That was quite a presentation. I was like, get back there,
Back
Couch.
to the podium.
We will certainly miss your beautiful soul. I can assure you that. Thank you.
Is Jenny Holterman in the audience? I didn't see her. Here she goes.
Yay.
Thank you.
Come on down and welcome.
So this is item 8. Good morning. Back in 1955, the Water Association of Kern County was formed, and today the executive director is Jenny Holterman, and she's going to give us some comments and some information. But the proclamation I'm presenting today, which I'll now read, reads as following, and here's what it does. The Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern, State of California, has officially proclaimed May 2025 as Water Conservation Month in Kern County. It's signed by our Honorable Chair, Letitia Perez. It's dated today, May 13th. And Jenny, I will present this to you and turn it over to you so you can tell us what the Water Association of Kern County has in store. Where'd you go? There you go.
Thank you. Thank you to the Board of Supervisors for your acknowledgement of Water Conservation Month for Kern County. I'm Jenny Holterman, the Executive Director of the Water Association of Kern County. And water is vital to life here in Kern County, every component to our day, from the agriculture orchards and vineyards, oil fields, our residents, and even the Kern River flowing through the heart of Bakersfield. Without water, we would not be the productive and profitable county that we are. The Water Association of Kern County was formed in 1955, like Couch said, as a water nonprofit with a focus on education and outreach to our community on the key water issues that we face. Our members are made up of agriculture businesses, landowners, oil industry, water districts, municipalities, and affiliated businesses. Every summer, we organize a water awareness and conservation campaign to connect our local purveyors together and engage in county-wide water conservation efforts. Combining these efforts and resources maximizes the impact to our county and our residents. May has been marked as Water Conservation Month by statewide agencies, as May is typically the start to summer, and we like to remind our residents about conservation and being aware of our water usage. As May kickstarts our water awareness and conservation campaign here locally, we include advertising, marketing, and social media promotions with a combination of radio ads, TV segments, billboards, internet promotions, and more to raise awareness of water here in Kern County. Throughout the summer and all year round, we urge our community to be aware of their water usage and the vital necessity it supplies to our industries and our community. We appreciate your support of the Water Association of Kern County and our community in which we all represent. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Supervisor Couch. We're going to move on to item number 5, which is a proclamation from May 2025 as Foster Care Awareness Month in Kern County. This matter is going to be presented and handled by Supervisor Peters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
Supervisor Flores, can you reconfirm your vote? Thank you. The motion is approved. All ayes.
You're all kinds of trouble this morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. I'm honored to be joined here by our director, Maria Bermudez, and I'm sorry, one more time. Thank you. To proclaim May 2025 as Foster Care Awareness Month in Kern County. We have over 2,000 children and youth in foster care currently throughout Kern County, and fortunately we have some outstanding county staff as well as caring families and individuals to help guide and influence these kids as they move through that process toward reunification. And I will turn it over to Maria to tell you a little bit more about this year and its theme, Connecting Hearts and Changing Lives.
Good morning, Chairwoman Perez and members of the board. My name is Maria Bermudez, and I'm the Assistant Director of the Child Welfare Services Bureau with the Department of Human Services. I'm honored to stand here today alongside resource parent Naomi Leon and our great director, Lito Murillo. Thank you today for proclaiming May as National Foster Care Awareness Month in Kern. This is a time to celebrate resource parents who open their hearts and homes to children and to recognize the hardworking professionals who make the difference in the lives of children every day. Every child has a story, one of strength, resilience, and hope. But their journeys are not meant to be walked alone. Resource parents are vital in keeping our children safe and offering them love, comfort through their journey in foster care. We call on them often in the middle of the night. I know I have. When a child is in need, knowing they will answer the call with open arms and warmth for a child. They provide not just shelter, but stability and love. One remarkable example of unwavering commitment is found with Naomi and Jose Leon, who in July of 2024 welcomed their first placement, a 17-year-old single mother with 2 young children. Over the past 10 months, Naomi and Jose have supported her journey through parenthood and education, ensuring that she wasn't separated from her children. In a powerful show of their belief in her future, they purchased her cap and gown for her high school graduation in an act of love and encouragement of her future and belief in her future. And that speaks volumes and is just an example of the many things that our resource parents do for children in Kern County. And while we honor stories like theirs, we also acknowledge the work ahead. Whether it's you becoming a resource parent, mentoring a young child, or raising awareness about the need of supporting children in foster care, each of us has the power to contribute to their success in foster care. I had the opportunity last week to attend the ILP, Independent Living Program, high school graduation for children living in foster care, and that will be graduating and pursuing higher education. And the stories I heard were just made me want to continue to do this work because we each make a difference. And it was so prevalent in that room to see all these foster youth succeeding in life and moving on to that next step. So on behalf of the Department of Human Services, I extend my greatest gratitude to Mr. and Mrs. Leon to all resource parents, to our resource family approval team at the Department of Human Services, and to all helping professionals in the community who are making a lasting impact on the lives of children in our community. So it is now my honor to introduce Naomi Leon.
Good morning. Hi everyone. My name is Naomi Leon, and I'm a resource parent. As a first-time foster parent, I have learned a lot that comes with it, and it's not all flowers and roses. It also comes with a lot of challenges and emotional trauma. It takes a big heart and a strong mind to help and change a life. I am grateful for all the resources we are able to receive. I have seen a huge success take place and turn a life around. Their therapy and IFIC have been a huge impact on my case as a foster parent. Being a teen mom is not easy, especially when it comes into, and you're just a child yourself. I am so proud of my daughter and know that she will be ready for the real world on her own. I again thanks to all the team and help we had for us. Thanks to all the team and all the help that we had for us. I will continue to share my home and my heart. Thank you, everyone.
Ms. Leon, thank you so much for what you do. My parents were foster parents. They raised literally dozens of children, or had dozens of children at some stage of their lives in our home. I mean, it was almost like a shelter, which was just wild to think about. Please think of my office as a resource for you personally and for the circle of people that you work with, because we know a lot of people. We reach out to my colleagues. They're very generous and incredible. And if I need help, I even reach out to them. But just don't be shy about that, because we've got to have a network that is supportive.
I wrote it down. I was like, I don't get nervous. And
you're fabulous.
I'm sorry.
But there's a big network here of people who will help. Sometimes just getting in is the hard part, but our office is very good about being a conduit like that. So please consider that. We're here for you, and I know how difficult that road is, and it really is a labor of love, and it really is God's work. I believe that. So we'll keep you in our prayers, but please think of our office as a resource.
Will do.
Thank you.
God bless.
Keep up the good work, Ms. Leon. Thank you, Lito. Good seeing you guys. Thank you, Supervisor Peters. We're going to move to item number 6, which is a proclamation for May 2025 as Community Action Month in Kern County. This matter will be handled by Supervisor Chris Parlier.
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Jeremy Tobias, my hero.
Good morning, Madam Chair and fellow colleagues. This morning, the Board of Supervisors are pleased to proclaim the month of May 2025 as Community Action Month in Kern County. Community Action Month is a nationwide campaign that allows the opportunity to highlight the important work of community action agencies. We here in Kern are privileged to have CAPK, a powerhouse community action agency that works day in and day out to help empower our residents to be self-sufficient. Since 1965, CAP-K has delivered much-needed services to our Kern County residents through its poverty-fighting programs. Here to accept this proclamation and share a little bit more about his agency is the Chief Executive Officer, Jeremy Tobias.
Good morning, Jeremy.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair, fellow board members, and Board Member Chris Parley, who's also CAP-K board member. I want to thank the Kern County Board of Supervisors for declaring May as Community Action Month in the County of Kern. Our partnership with the county has assisted us in leveraging resources that assist our friends and neighbors here in Kern County. Our vision at CAP-K is a community with opportunities for everyone to achieve self-sufficiency and to attain their version of the American dream. Through programs such as the M Street Navigation Center, Head Start, the Food Bank, Friendship House Community Center, 201 Kern, and our new Veteran Services programs, our work with the county runs very deep. Of course, there is an incredible partnership with the county at the M Street Navigation Center, where the county and CAP-K stabilize those on the streets and move them into permanent housing. The CAP-K Food Bank distributes 2.5 million pounds of food each year from our location in Southeast Bakersfield, and we do that with a very lean staff. The food bank distributes millions of pounds of food through a network of more than 200 food pantries and commodity sites here in Kern County. That's our local churches, community groups, schools, and volunteers from every corner of the county working tirelessly to distribute food to an area covering over 8,000 square miles. Our food bank administrator, Kelly Lowry, does an absolutely amazing job. He's here today. And they're facing very significant challenges at both the federal and state level. And if you have any questions on that, he'd be happy to answer those. And he does an amazing job out there with a crew of volunteers and a very lean staff. Our Head Start Early Childhood Education program operates 30 Head Start centers that keep children ages 0 to 5 ready for school, building skills, and so they can excel when they enter kindergarten. 201 Kern, our resource and referral call center, provides services to Kern residents by connecting them to more than 1,500 social safety services networks. Our programs rely heavily on community partners to create success, and we are honored to partner with the County of Kern to meet the needs of this community. On behalf of our amazing staff, our board of directors, including CAP-K board member Chris Parlier, I want to thank you for your amazing partnership. Thank you very much. And I'll turn it over to Savannah Oates, our outreach director.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Chairwoman, members of the board, and staff. Thank you for your continued support throughout the year. It's a very active month for us, Community Action Month. I wanted to extend the offer for you all to join us this Saturday. We're partnering with Children's First for the East Bakersfield Festival. We are co-partnered with them. We'll be passing out 3,000 books to the community for them to build their home libraries. All of our service lines will be there, so all 19 of our programs will be there to provide services. And we're partnering with the Kern County Library to get the carts there for our books. So we continue to rely on you and value your partnership very much.
Savannah, I'm a Head Start baby. I've said that before. I'm very proud of that. The education I received there, the enrichment I received there. At my CAP-K graduation at 5 years old, I gave my first public speech. It was the 23rd Psalm. I have proof of that, by the way, for the haters. But I did Psalm 23, flawless, and I got a standing ovation. Right there in the east side, in a tiny little school with these beautiful hands and souls carrying on these little babies. And I had my first standing ovation. So Jeremy, it's your fault. Thank you. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
I'll take credit for that. Thank you.
Excellent. I love that. You're so awesome. Okay, anybody else?
Thank you. Well, let's get a photo.
Oh, yeah.
So let's put this down here.
Put that down. Go this way.
We love you, CAP-K. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Very good. Thank you.
Okay, and lastly for our proclamations and resolutions this morning is item number 7, and that is to proclaim May 2025 as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in Kern County. How cool. Supervisor Flores?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Come on down. Don't be shy. We're happy to recognize you today. Come on down.
Price is right. Say it.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Welcome. Is that Uncle Max? Wow, how cool. I love it. I love it.
I'm in very good company. We all are this morning, celebrating a special month that goes back all the way to 1977 when Congress first designated Asian, excuse me, what's it? There's a lot of acronyms here. Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Month in Kern County. That's our proclamation. And why does it matter? A couple bullet points. There's 24 million people that have helped shape the nation from Asia. In California, there's 6 million AANHPs in California. Asian Americans make the fastest growing ethnic population in the US, and they're the second largest amount of business owners. And the story here in Kern County is very impressive. Ever since the 1800s, we've had Asian Americans building the infrastructure of Kern County, the railroads. China Grade Loop is named, and I was wondering about China Grade Loop because it's such a specialized name. Asian Americans, Chinese Americans used to grow vegetables along the river, hence the name China Grade Loop. So it's very special, and you know, I've heard in the community that there's conversations of, well, why do we need an Asian chamber? Well, why not? The motto of this nation is out of many, one, and that resonates today just as much as it did back in the 13 colonies. And so we derive our strength through the many cultures and experiences here in the U.S. and in Kern County. And so on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, also, I'd be remiss to not mention my staff member, Vivian Cow, who's the president of the Kern County Asian Chamber of Commerce. They have been hitting the ground running ever since their inception, so thank you, Vivian. Thank you to the Board of Directors. They're on the move, and not only did they build Kern County, they're continuing to build Kern County right now with their work ethic, their grit, their smarts, their contributions. So today we praise you, and we champion you, and we respect you so much. So on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, we declare May 2025 as Asian American, Native American, and Pacific Islander Month in Kern County, signed by our Honorable Chairman, Supervisor Leticia Perez. And Vivian, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Supervisor Flores, AKA Boss. Good morning, Chairwoman Perez, as well as our illustrious Board of Supervisors. My name is Vivian, and I have the distinct honor of serving as the inaugural president of the Kern County Asian Chamber of Commerce. Beside me, I have my fellow board members, as well as our brother, Lido, who serves as the director of Kern DHS. And I think it's a really great reflection in terms of not only the diversity that we have in terms of the culture itself, the ethnicities, but also the industries that we represent. We have my dear brother, Max Becerra, who, as you can imagine, has been just a force, right, to build the Southeast as well as a lot of our underserved communities, and so I'm super proud of him. We have my brother, Quan Louis, who, again, serves the underserved communities in terms of healthcare. We have Michelle Valverde, who was the immediate past president of the Bakersfield Realtors, and we have Pavan, who's just a force for all things health equity and beyond, and obviously Lido, who runs DHS and formerly Asian Adult Services. It's just been such an honor, and I usually don't do talking points, but I want to make right by my ancestors as well as the generations after me and get these numbers appropriate. But so May is Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Month, and it stems from, as Jeff has mentioned, Supervisor Flores has mentioned, It's from a rich history of Asian Americans being in America, but May specifically marks in May of 1843, the first Japanese immigrants landed here in America. And then in May of 1869, it marked the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad, which, as you can imagine, there were significant contributions from the Chinese railroad workers at that time. With that said, as Supervisor Flores mentioned, 24 million people of Asian descent live here in America, and we have truly helped shape the landscape. In California alone, there are 6 million residents that are AANHPI based, but with that comes $1.3 trillion of revenue that the Asian American communities bring annually to America. I think that's worth mentioning as a Chamber of Commerce. I think it's also worth mentioning that in Kern County alone, we've been here for over 168 years. We've helped shape the economic landscape. We've helped shape the cultural tapestry. And we brought some really good food here as well. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. And we are the second largest small business owners in the state. And so why do we have a chamber? Our goals as a chamber is to provide a platform for those who, first of all, have a sense of identity, to be able to reach out, to understand our cultures. We have been so incredibly blessed by our electeds, by our community partners, by our nonprofits, by the community at large. But honestly, I mean, the other chambers, the African American Network, everyone has been so supportive. We've had a few events in this past year that we've launched. We've just celebrated our 1-year anniversary last week. And everything has been close to capacity or sold out. And I think it's a reflection of where we are as a county. I'm so eternally grateful, and I look forward to continuing the work with your support. If there's any advice you have for us as a chamber, please share it, and if there's anything we can do better, please share it. But we're here to serve, and I do think that we're stronger together. Thank you so much.
Anybody else want to share a few words?
Welcome to.
Brothers, sisters, yeah.
Okay. Thank you for being here. That was really beautiful. Thank you so much. Vivian, that's an excellent presentation. You are a rock star. Thank you for an excellent presentation and just marvelous contributions to the livelihood and spirit of Kern County. It's good seeing you, Max. Thank you very much. Okay, a rather long morning of resolutions and proclamations. Thank you all for your patience. We're going to move right forward to public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for members of the public to comment, provide insight, complain, provide direction, whatever you think is appropriate. We do ask you to limit your time to 2 minutes. We have a timer that's going. I hate cutting people off, so we'll definitely give some grace, but I will ask you to please try to honor that time limit. I understand, too, I've seen some cowbells in the crowd. If cowbells are ringing through this hearing, we obviously can't conduct a hearing. We're going to have to shut down and then take a break. And that, of course, is your right to do. But I want you to know that we will have to shut down. So thank you. Welcome. If you could line up, I appreciate you lining up the way that you have. That's so helpful. But I see there are members of the public. If we could get in line and have some order, I think that's helpful. Brings the tension down. So come on up, welcome, and good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm going to go ahead. Do you want this one?
Thank you.
I'm going to be brief. I'll just read the statement so it goes fast. Yeah. Okay. I'm sure you guys have already seen this report. My name is Patricia Gomez.
Hi, Patricia.
Hi. I am a constituent of District 5. I am a voter, a taxpayer, a Kern County Administrative Coordinator for the Planning Department, and a member of our local SEIU 521. Today, I just want to briefly speak about the Kern County Grand Jury Report released for 2225, which is about the Kern County Child Protective Services, DHS. I just want to highlight 3 of the 22 findings and the title of the report. The title is Working with Limited Resources to Protect Children. 3 of those 22 findings are something that are Kern County social workers have been telling the board and the public for the past year. One of the findings was inadequate retention of staff disrupts CPS's continuity of care for families. Staff shortages creates higher caseloads per staff members, which hinders supervisors' ability to perform thorough reviews, possibly impacting consistency and performance of monitoring. The third one is the lack of competitive salaries has held a high staff turnover. This may have intensified the workload of the remaining staff, resulting in burnout. As hard as these reports and sad, I also worked at DHS for 6 years. I've been now working in the county for 9 years. It's our reality, and not only at DHS, but of all of our departments. All of Kern County departments are suffering. Many department workers have sounded the alarm already. We are in a staffing crisis due to uncompetitive wages and high caseloads. There is also another report from the grand jury, which is on public works road divisions, and it's in your hands to help us bring the solutions. A fair contract will assist with the hiring and retention of employees throughout the entire county, all the departments. Enough is enough. Do we need a grand jury to open a report on each of our Kern County departments? Is that what it will take for the board to take our concerns seriously and fix Kern? We don't want to strike, but if our wages and staffing crisis aren't resolved, thousands of my coworkers and I are serious about striking. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chairwoman Perez
Good morning.
and board members. My name is Anna Azua. I am a constituent of District 3, a voter and taxpayer. I am a substance use disorder therapist with Kern Behavioral Health and Recovery Services. I proudly served Kern County for 19 years, and I'm also a member of SEIU 521. Every day I work with individuals struggling with addiction to get them into safe and stable environments. I help them get into programs so they have a fighting chance of living sober lives. And I also walk alongside them until they're able to walk on their own. Often my clients are Spanish-speaking residents who would otherwise fall through the cracks. And these folks are not just clients, they're our neighbors, they're parents, they're workers. Most of my Spanish-speaking clients are farm workers, the backbone of our local economy and farms. When they can't access support, it impacts their families and their employers. The truth is, we're short-staffed, we're underpaid, we're losing skilled therapists to school districts, to state jobs, to hospitals, to prisons, places that can offer competitive pay, lighter caseloads. Meanwhile, the need here at home continues to grow. Spanish-speaking residents often avoid seeking help because of fear, language barriers, and complex red tape. We need to meet them where they are. That means hiring and retaining qualified bilingual professionals, and right now we're not able to do that. Today, I urge you, in closed session, approve the funding needed to settle the contract and support bilingual services. This investment supports public safety, economic stability, and community health. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Gloria Zacharias. I am a job developer with Employers Training Resource.
Hi, Gloria.
Good morning. And as you know, we fall under the workforce development. And it's important that you understand, and I'm sure that you do, the need that we are trying to meet for our communities. This has been going on long enough, and I hope that you are not the demise of our workforce, because the people that we deal with on a daily basis, they have issues that we need to address, and by putting people back to work, they become productive citizens. We're trying to avoid them going to ask for not public services, but welfare assistance. We want them to be self-sufficient. When they don't go back to work, they become depressed. So then they need mental services or any other services to help them get through that. We're trying to avoid homelessness by putting them back to work. Please, get this contract signed. It's hurting us, it's hurting our community, truly. I've been with the county almost 18 years, and I see what they go through, and they all see what they go through. We can't have this happen. You have to hear us. This is really a serious issue. So please, please dig into your heart and see what's happening to your community, because we voted you in. And again, I am an SEIU 521 member. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Gloria. Welcome and good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Randall Cates. I'm a land use planner in the Kern County Planning and Natural Resources Department, and I'm a member of SEIU 521. I've worked for the department since 2005. We are losing seasoned planners because of uncompetitive pay, but why do wages need to be raised? One reason is to make Kern County a competitive employer by retaining skilled public workers rather than continually hiring and training new workers. The value land use planners provide to the public is immense, facilitating thousands of acres of solar energy and millions of square feet of warehouse space. Many of those projects have come before your board for consideration while protecting the health, safety, and welfare of the public. When we continue to lose experienced planners, time is spent training new planners when it could instead be used to bill developers. The standard billing rate is $275 per hour. Instead, it takes about 2 years, in my opinion, to become a seasoned planner. Between 2006 and today, 16 planners in my department have left, and that's just from county to the city of Bakersfield. All 16 names right here. Everyone to see this. 16 to the city, 0 of transfers from the city to the county. So I think that's a pretty significant statistic there. However, 3 of those 16 later returned to the county. So that's no surprise. Currently, the entry-level pay for planners in the city of Bakersfield is over $7,500 per year more at the city than the county. Got the proof of that right here. So again, we urge you, board members, please use closed sessions today to authorize the additional funding needed to settle the contract. Delays are costing lives and trust. Kern County must act now. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
And may I submit this to the clerk?
Yeah, thank you for your very compelling presentation. And thank you for what you do at planning. We have the best planning department in the nation. We have to take care of it, and all the people who make it happen. You're really special. The planning department's really critical piece of Kern County. Everybody's important, but the economy almost rests on that department. So thank you for what you do. I appreciate you.
I have some documentation we're going to pass out to the board members. Think of it as potential homework.
Okay. And who are you, sir?
Good morning, Madam Chair. I am Charles Shin, a concerned citizen. I'm a retired Marine. God bless America. The first item, when you get your package, your 3 pamphlets, is Memorandum 25035, which is the Voting Systems Technology Assessment from the Secretary of State for California. First item I want to bring to your attention is the tint and watermark assignment requests for our ballots. The inside page, it has, I've highlighted things for your ease of observation. 10X, which is our poll book provider. They're in testing phase. We've had 10X problems during our voting. We also, the next page, have Dominion. They've gone through their Democracy Suite update. And on the second to the last page, defects, faults, and failures. We've had several in 2024. We had the countywide poll book defect where nobody could vote from 7 a.m. to 12:35 in the afternoon on a poll ballot. And that was because everybody was given the wrong precinct to vote in. I had to go to Boron to vote. But I waited until he cleared it up mysteriously. nothing hooked up to the internet. On the last page, I highlighted printing flaws, and these are problems that should have been reported within 24 hours by our elections department. We had Taft on the 5th of November received information on their poll, on their VBM ballots that they had to go vote in Tehachapi. The next pamphlet is administrative law. It's quite thick. I highlighted 4 pages in, 19050.6, requirements for valid registration. You'll see that majority of this document, everything is crossed out because they're eliminating duplication. You can read the orange highlighted sections, how rotten the language in our elections code book is. It is duplicated in the white sections. They're just eliminating duplication. And the last but not least is SB 858, which is sailing through Sacramento. And we hope to see the separation of our ROV office from the other county offices. Thank you.
Mr. Shin, thank you.
Morning, Madam Chair, Board. I kind of jumped in ahead of the other speakers with their permission. I just have a quick clarification to make on the SEIU presentation. Although their findings were accurate, that they quoted the findings of the grand jury.
I'm sorry, what is your name?
I'm sorry, I'm Todd Lucas, foreperson for the Kern County Grand Jury. The findings were represented correctly. However, I believe we possibly were misconstrued about some of our recommendations. So I just want to be really clear on the recommendation of the grand jury. In regards to the CPS, the Child Protective Services report, we recommended that the CPS work with the Kern County Board of Supervisors to conduct a salary survey by May 31st to determine if salaries and benefits of the workers are competitive. We did not recommend an automatic wage increase. We're not qualified to do that at this point. We simply recommended that a salary survey be conducted. So I just want to make that clear. That's all I have. Thank you.
That is so helpful. Thank you for what you do at the grand jury.
You bet. It's an honor.
I'm going to work really hard to stay on your good side.
We hope so.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Morning.
Dennis McLean.
Hi, Dennis.
Morning, Madam Chair, supervisors, and staff. Thank you for letting me speak. I have 5 sets of documents I wish to hand out and would like to comment on each one. I encourage all of you to read these at your earliest convenience. I'll start with document number 1, which is President Trump's executive order to combat illegal voting, discrimination, and fraud. This order will enforce citizenship and clean up our dirty voter rolls in federal elections. Documents 2, 3, and 4 are related to lawsuits regarding non-citizenship voting. Document 2 is a letter to our California State Secretary dated June 2024 by American First Legal exposing our state's dirty voter rolls. Document 3 is a lawsuit against 15 counties in Arizona for voter fraud. Document 4 is a guilty verdict for the above lawsuit for non-citizenship voters in Arizona. I hope our county does not follow suit. Document 5 is a list of requirements for people who want to register to vote. This list may contain driver's license, passport, ID card, utility bill, and bank statement. In closing, we hope our election department has contacted the Department of Homeland Security to ensure our voter rolls are valid. And what is our election department doing to comply with our president's executive voting order? Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Who else do we have this morning? Okay, it looks like we have come to an end of our morning session. I want to thank everybody for a civil and respectful discourse this morning. These are hard issues. They're hard to resolve. We have, wildly divergent views, but I think we had a really excellent morning, and I appreciate SEIU coming here passionately, sharing your heart, your love for the community. It is very clear to me that the love of the community is what's predominantly driving these frustrations. And I appreciate the respectful manner which you shared your heart this morning. So thank you for that. We're going to move on to close public presentations. I ask my colleagues if they have any announcements or reports. Gentlemen? Anyone? Okay. We're then going to move on to our budget item this morning, of which we're going to have a robust discussion, I'm sure. I'm glad to see SEIU folks are here as we, grow our relationships and figure out our common ground. I'm glad that you're here. Number 39 from the CAO's office is fiscal updates and potential federal and state impacts on county budget for fiscal year 2025-26. I understand Nancy and Elsa have this matter teed up, or is it Elsa will be taking it? Nancy, do you have a few comments, or we go straight to Elsa?
Madam Chair and members of the board, thank you. This will be one of the first budget discussions that lead us into the 25-26 fiscal year budget development we are currently working on. We thought it was important to bring this item to your board so that you understand some of the things that we will be bringing forward in June and then later in August. There's a lot of state and federal uncertainty and some certainty that we wanted to make your board aware of, and so I will turn it over to Assistant CEO Elsa Martinez.
Thank you so much.
Good morning,
Elsa, floor is yours.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. With your indulgence, I would like to just provide some context to item 44. I think there was a public comment about the 18 million of unanticipated revenue, and I think it's important for your board and the public to understand what that is.
I appreciate that.
So that is not something we discovered yesterday. We don't come out with 18 million. This is something that we monitor on a bi-weekly basis. Your fire chief would tell you that we don't want to see that number because this is emergency overtime. This is emergency happening across the state where our fire department goes supports those entities. We incur the overtime and then we get reimbursed. We monitor it on a pay period basis. Now, in the past, we have done this practice that we wait until the end of the fiscal year to bring to your board this item because we don't know what that item is going to be. Now, the reality in California is that we have emergencies all the time. So we are going to be changing how we budget for this because it is happening every year. Emergencies are happening every year across the state. You saw what happened in LA. Our firefighters were down there helping our, sister city of LA, helping them support with that. And so that's what this is. This is not an unusual number that just appeared. This is something that we track on a bi-weekly basis, and we bring this item to your board. The term sounds, for non-accountants, I'm an accountant by training, unanticipated just means that we didn't put it in the budget. It doesn't mean that we didn't know that it was coming. So I just want to clarify that for context.
That's really helpful. Thank you.
Can I ask a question about that?
Supervisor Couch.
Is this overtime that has already been paid out, and this is the reimbursement for it?
That is correct.
Huh. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Couch. Okay, back to the budget.
So on today's items, I'm joined by Alex Albert, your Budget and Finance Director, to provide your board and members of the public with a financial update and to discuss the potential state and federal impacts on an upcoming county budget. So I will begin today's presentation by providing a high-level overview of the 5-year general fund forecast, including the assessed value and sales taxes, two of our main sources of discretionary revenue that fund many of our mandated operations in the general fund. So next, we will present the federal and state budget pressures and risks impacting county operations, and some of your department heads will make some presentation to your board. So finally, we will go over some of the strategies that we will be utilizing to ensure that we present your board with a balanced and sustainable preliminary budget on June 24th. As a reminder, the preliminary budget will be updated in July when the assessor finalizes the assessed value. We will incorporate any impacts from the state adopted budget and include the net fund balance or carry forward from the prior year. This number is the unused appropriations and over-collected revenue from this fiscal year. This is the number that you will see in the county's financial statements as of June 30, 2025, which is comprised of funds associated with major projects that have not been completed, rebudget of revenue that we received this year that is really to provide services across multiple fiscal years, and then we will reestablish what we call our budget savings incentives. This is the amount of dollars that departments can carry from one fiscal year to the next fiscal year. So as we stated in the report to your board on March 11, your board approved the proposed net general fund contribution guideline. The guideline is developed with our first estimate of discretionary revenue, which includes two key revenue components, property taxes and sales taxes. So when we develop the property taxes, we look at our assessed value. And if you look in this graph, it shows the overall county assessed value on the top. As you can see, the blue line shows a significant decline on the assessed value in fiscal year 2015 and 2016, primarily related to reduction of oil and gas property valuations. This decline was offset with growth in our residential and commercial. And then looking ahead, looking at for the first 5 years of that line, between 2014 and 2019, you can see that it took the county 5 years just to get back to the 2014 AB. That was $99 billion. We did not grow those years. It just took us 5 years to get back where we were in 2014. Counties across the state saw double digits growth. Even within the county, we have cities like Shafter that saw significant growth, but because most of the oil and gas are unincorporated areas, we as a county did not see that. Since 2019, we have seen AV grow as low as 1% to as high as 11% on an annual basis. But in real property tax dollars, this equates to approximately $42 million more in collections in 2014 than we had in 2019. And so these funds have been instrumental for your board to provide cost of living increases to our workforce in the last 3 years that equate to $88 million. Equity adjustment to many classifications to over 2,000 employees. We had the ability to purchase and renovate the corner facility. We were able to set aside funds to do the public safety radio communication project without incurring debt. We're setting aside funds for the construction of an animal control facility and a Rossman substation. So those are the things that we have been able to do with the growth in property tax, aided with some grants. We were able to improve our parks. We had some grants, but we also had to invest some of our discretionary revenue. And then we have been able to provide for the damages that we saw from the storms. We have not been reimbursed. We have to have that money on the bank on reserve to be able to do those projects because FEMA reimbursement could take up to 5 or longer years. So that's how we're using our property tax growth. So as important as property tax is sales taxes. Now they provide a significant funding, not just for general fund, but for many programs. Again, this slide you can see the county did experience growth in sales tax and revenue taxes. But however, we are anticipating a slowdown. So sales taxes are critical, as I mentioned, because now they comprise 16% of our total county revenue. And let me clarify, you hear the word realignment, that is sales tax. It might be called realignment from the state. The state is taking sales tax collected statewide and providing it to the county for very specific programs. The public safety AB 109 funded with sales taxes. Behavioral health match for Medi-Cal funded with sales taxes. Social services, aging and adult, funded with sales taxes. Some of public health services, again, funded with sales taxes. So a key challenge with sales tax-driven revenue is when the economy fluctuates, so does the revenue. Changes in consumer spending, broader economic conditions, policy adjustments at the federal level can impact the direct revenue that we get. In addition to realignment, you heard the term Prop 172. This is also sales tax driven. This provides dedicated support for public safety programs. And again, we're seeing a decline because these are statewide collections. These are not just at the county level. So given this volatility that we're seeing on sales revenue, we are setting aside prudent reserves so your board has the ability to backfill. So we do have reserves on realignment. So we'll have the ability to backfill as the challenges come this fiscal year, some of the programs that we're seeing either cost increases or reduction in federal or state funding. So all these factors go into developing our general fund financial forecast. So this is the same document I presented to your board in March. And as you can see, we are seeing growth in our revenue, but it's not keeping up with our growth in the costs. So we will continue to update this document, and we will present you an updated document in June. And so when departments had submitted their budget, we have some potentially the impacts from the state and the federal, so we'll update this document and present it to your board in June. Many departments all departments actually have submitted their budgets in lines with the guidelines. However, they have also requested supplemental requests of $46.5 million. These requests reflect growth in financial needs across county department, including both one-time money and ongoing. Of the $46.5 million, we are seeing $20.6 million requested for ongoing operations. They're asking for additional staff. They're trying to backfill revenue reductions. We have cost increases in utility. We have some other programs that the cost is just continue to grow up. So these expenses highlight the financial commitment necessary that we will need to balance to maintain critical services. So of the one-time requests we received from departments in the amount of $19.9 million, this include, capital projects. This includes assets that are old that need to be replaced. And they're also requesting a backfill or general liability. We continue to see our costs in general liability to increase year after year. So now I'm gonna have Mr. Alba go over some of the challenges we're seeing both at the federal and state level.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board.
Thank you. And Elsa, that was really an excellent and sort of simply understandable presentation. A lot of people are not numbers people. You happen to be geniusly, but so thank you for that.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. The county's budget for fiscal year 25-26 is facing considerable financial pressures, as emphasized by Ms. Martinez, marked by significant volatility and uncertainty. Discussions surrounding the May revise suggests the potential for significant adjustments to the state budget, which we'll know about more tomorrow. Those changes will have direct impact on our department's budgets. Beyond these anticipated changes, several external influences continue to add to the overall fiscal strain. State and federal funding reductions, ongoing shifts in financial allocations present challenges for departments and that are reliant on government support. Economic uncertainty, the possibility of an economic slowdown or decline introduces further unpredictability into our revenue forecast. Disaster-related costs, as Ms. Martinez mentioned earlier, the county continues to experience financial pressures due to disaster recovery efforts, including substantial damages from the winter 2023 storms and the tropical storm, which have necessitated ongoing investments into that emergency response. Given the uncertainty surrounding these pressures, the county is taking a balanced approach, exercising caution in our projections without being overtly conservative. As actual amounts become available, as you saw today with the $18 million unanticipated revenue, we do bring that back to your board during different phases, ensuring accurate financial information into the budget process. This allows the board to make informed adjustments as necessary while maintaining fiscal responsibility. By responsibly navigating these challenges, the county aims to be proactive in a strategic mindset. The county aims to uphold financial stability while continuing to provide essential services to the community. The recommended budget is funded from several sources, including revenue, operating transfers in, and reserves and designations. A significant portion of the county's budget, as seen here, approximately 34.1%, is derived from state, federal, and other government aid. This funding is critical to supporting a wide range of programs, including social services, public health, infrastructure, and public safety. Any reductions in these allocations have substantial impact on departments' budgets, potentially leading to funding shortfalls that could necessitate cost-cutting measures and service reductions and other operational adjustments. This table outlines the anticipated state and federal impacts on various departments due to new legislation and funding changes. While the exact financial figures remain uncertain, departments, alongside with the County Administrative Office, have made estimates based on the available information. Budget challenges for fiscal year 25-26 presents significant hurdles as departments grapple with substantial shifts in funding and policy changes. Behavioral health faces notable impacts from Proposition 1, CARE Act necessitating strategic adjustments to maintain essential services. Public health, similarly affected by SB 525, has experienced changes in funding structures leading to potential operational shifts. Public safety departments have to navigate the effects of Proposition 36 and the Assembly Bill 1869, both of which influence their budget allocation and service strategies. Given these financial constraints, the county must explore expenditure reductions. Successfully managing these challenges will require measured and thoughtful approach for fiscal responsibility. To provide further information into how these changes affect the respective departments, we have presentations today from Brent Kerrigan, Lito Murillo, Allison Burrows, and Jeremy Oliver. They will discuss the implications of the state and federal policies and their departments and the evolving landscape. And at this time, I would ask Brent Kerrigan if she would come up.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Bryn. Good to see you and welcome. Great suit.
Thank you.
That's fun.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Bryn Kerrigan, your Director of Kern County Public Health. Kern County Public Health plays a vital role in protecting and improving the health, safety, and quality of life for residents and visitors. As your board is aware, our department provides essential services focused on disease prevention, health promotion, and community resilience. We strive to improve the health of the community through education, encouraging healthy lifestyles, and fighting disease and injury prevention. Kern County continues to face significant challenges related to public health, consistently ranking among the worst in California for a range of critical health outcomes. The county has the highest mortality rate from diabetes in the state and leads in reported cases of valley fever, to name a couple. Additionally, Kern County experiences disproportionately high rates of HIV and other sexually transmitted infections, further underscoring the urgent need for targeted health interventions and sustained funding support. We continue to experience a decline in available resources and an increase in operational expenses, which makes service delivery increasingly challenging. Since fiscal year 2016-17, our department has experienced a $2.7 million or 44% reduction in our general fund contribution. Simultaneously, we have experienced an increase in salary cost from continued annual cost of living adjustments and from the implementation of SB 525, the healthcare worker minimum wage requirement. Effective January 1, 2025, Phase 1 of SB 525 was implemented, mandating all positions within our department be paid a minimum of $21 an hour. The estimated financial impact of SB 525 for fiscal year 24-25 is over $500,000 and is estimated to cost more than $1 million in fiscal year 25-26. There will be 2 more phases of implementation required under SB 525, with Phase 2 mandating all positions be paid a minimum of $23 per hour, and Phase 3 mandating all positions be paid a minimum of $25 an hour. There are no corresponding resources available to help cover the cost increases associated with this mandate. Additionally, in the last 2 fiscal years, Kern County Public Health has had a $12.5 million annual reduction in our discretionary revenue streams. Future of Public Health funding was introduced as a critical discretionary funding stream to support public health departments in strengthening their workforce and implementing programs designed to improve health outcomes. This funding, which began in fiscal year 22-23, was initially provided as an ongoing revenue source with a requirement that 70% of the funding be used on newly added positions. However, in the 2024 May revise, Governor Newsom proposed a complete elimination of future of public health funding, which would have resulted in the loss of just under $5.4 million annually for Kern County. Following extensive advocacy efforts, the governor included partial funding for fiscal year 24-25, totaling just over $3.3 million annually for Kern County. While we are appreciative of the partial funding, it did result in a reduction of over $2 million in discretionary revenue for fiscal year 24-25, and we anticipate that this funding will remain stagnant for fiscal year 25-26. On March 24th, 2025, the department received a stop work order on multiple Center for Disease Control and Prevention funding streams that were originally slated to be available to us through June 30, 2026. This stop work order was effective March 23rd, 2025, giving us no advance notice. Kern County Public Health anticipated approximately $10.5 million in revenue during fiscal year 2024-25 and fiscal year 2025-26, and we were using this funding to cover the cost of approximately 30 positions. This funding was used to perform the following services: communicable disease surveillance, outbreak investigation, data collection and analysis, and data reporting to healthcare stakeholders. Community wellness programs providing vaccines and education to assist in improving healthy living. Clinic services provided in Bakersfield as well as multiple outlying communities. These services include immunizations, other preventative healthcare services, health education, and linkage to medical homes and social services. Mobile clinic services provided to the most vulnerable residents in Kern County in the most underserved areas of the county. These services include immunizations, other preventative healthcare services, health education, and linkage to medical homes and social services. Public health laboratory supplies and equipment for the performance of diagnostic clinical testing like STD, TB, and valley fever, and public health surveillance and response testing. Healthcare professional education efforts, and general health education and awareness efforts that we have through billboards, social media campaigns, radio and television, public services announcements, movie theater advertising, large venue partnerships, health fair participation, door-to-door canvassing, flyers, and brochures. We responded to the stop work order as quickly as possible. We rescinded multiple job offers to prospective employees and issued terminations to contracts with other agencies, one of which you'll see on your board agenda this morning. We issued an immediate internal hiring freeze and overtime freeze, as well as a spending and travel restriction within our department. However, given the compounding pressures of increased costs and shrinking resources, we are no longer able to sustain status quo operations in our existing workforce without additional support. While we struggle in many of our health metrics, we have made progress over the last few years, and we are concerned that a reduction in services and/or our workforce will have long-lasting impacts on the health of our community. We are continuing to work with the County Administrative Office to determine the full impact to our budget and to minimize the impact of any reduction we are required to absorb to both our service delivery and workforce. Madam Chair, members of the board, that concludes my comments.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any questions for Bryn from my colleagues? Okay, we may have some, Bryn.
And then I'll ask Lito Murillo if he'd come up.
Thank you. Welcome, Lito.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. I'm not sure of the order of things. I have to follow Bryn, but I'll try my best here all together.
She was great.
Lito Morello, your Department of Human Services Director. I just want to share with you some statistics as it relates to the programs and services that we offer aside from Child Protective Services. We offer CalWorks, which is a cash assistance benefit for our community. Right now, we're currently serving a little over 60,000 people in that program. We have CalFresh, which provides food assistance programs for our community as well, and we serve about 200,000 in that respective program. In Medi-Cal, we have over 200,000 cases serving over 400,000 in particular. I'll focus more so on Medi-Cal and CalFresh specifically because just in the last couple of days, there's been some real developments as it relates to what the House has done in respect to those particular programs. Initially, when we were following the federal budget and where it was going, really truly trying to figure out where the ball was going to land is truly a difficult task, as the CEO has mentioned. Initially, we thought, for example, our federal participation, where the feds pitch into the Medi-Cal program is called FMAP, stands for Federal Medical Assistance Program. We thought that was going to be reduced by 5%. So we did our analysis accordingly based on that. That was the initial leak that was coming out. In regards to TANF, which is the CalWorks program, in the federal level it's called TANF, which is Temporary Assistance to Needy Families, we're expecting a 10% reduction in that respective program. All in total, affecting not only the assistance side of our budget, but also the administrative side of our budget, we were looking at a $27 million cut altogether. As I stated, it's a very fluid situation. The budget continually changes. We hear news every single day, if not by the hour. Last night, I can tell you that the proposal from the House Energy and Commerce Committee released could impact not only the number of participants in the Medi-Cal program, but also our admin budget and our ability to staff and provide services accordingly. Let me share some of those proposals that the House Energy and Commerce Committee shared. They're looking at reducing Medicaid by $880 billion over a 10-year period, expecting or estimating to lose about 8.6 million people receiving Medi-Cal, or Medicaid, I should say, to be more specific. That's about a 12% reduction. So if you factored that out, I said that there was about 400,000 people or so receiving here Medi-Cal in Kern County. That would be about 50,000 people potentially losing out on Medi-Cal services alone. That's before we start talking about the expansion to immigrants and everything else for that matter. And then as I shared with you initially, we thought the FMAP, which is the federal participation that the feds contribute to our respective budget, was going to be reduced by 5%. Now it's actually going to be 10%, which is more catastrophic than we initially thought. Some of the other things that they're looking at in Medi-Cal in terms of changing not only the funding for Medi-Cal, but the participation in Medi-Cal, they're looking at increasing renewals for Medi-Cal participants from every year to 6 months. So that means we do renewals on an annual basis. Now the feds are looking at asking us to do it every 6 months in hopes that less and less people could obviously be able to be eligible for the programs. That's a huge workload for us. If you can imagine, it doubles our workload from doing renewals on an annual basis versus a 6-month time frame. And then there's going to be a copay charge, $35 for services for individuals on Medi-Cal that's over 100% federal poverty level. There's going to be a limit to the retroactiveness of Medi-Cal. Currently, right now, if you apply for Medi-Cal, you can get retroactive benefits, meaning to say you can get coverage for Medi-Cal 3 months before you actually apply. They're looking at reducing that to 1 month. So there's coverage gaps that we're talking about there. And then more importantly, unlike any other time that I could recall, as many years as I've been in Medi-Cal, there's going to be work requirements implemented for Medi-Cal. Those between 19 to 64 need to be participating in at least 80 hours worth of work, community service, some trade, education of some sort in order to continue to receive Medi-Cal. There are some exemptions to that. That would be individuals that are pregnant, foster youth, former foster youth that were up to age 26, tribal members, and medically frail and disabled. And now I'll move on to the food stamps, or what they call CalFresh here in California. At the federal level, they call it SNAP, or Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. I'm telling you, these acronyms trip me up all the time. The House Agricultural Committee proposes to cut SNAP by $290 billion, substantial nonetheless. I think it's important to note that although not specific to the clients we serve in terms of participation, the cuts that are being proposed at this federal level could dramatically impact our funding locally here. So let me begin. Right now, the admin side of our house is currently the sharing ratios is 50% Fed, 35% state, 15% county. the feds are asking under this proposal by the House Committee to shift that to 75% state, which would mean that it would be 10% federal participation, 75% state, 15% county. We're not quite sure what the state will do. Maybe they'll change our participation to be 30%, 40%. It's really unclear. Again, this is just a framework of these proposals. In addition to that, the states are also asking the feds are also asking the states to contribute about 5% to the total cost of administering the CalFresh program. And then they're tying everything to error rates. So in CalFresh, we are bound by an error rate, meaning to say that when we issue benefits, we have to be within a certain accuracy level, otherwise we can get fiscally sanctioned. Well, now they've tied actual percentages to those error rates. So states with error rates between 6 to 8% will contribute 15% more than they have before. States with error rates between 8 to 10% will contribute 20%. And then states at or above 10% will be contributing 25%. So all these reductions that I've shared with you are just current proposals at this point in time, but if they come to fruition in some way, shape, or form, it will dramatically impact our ability to provide services here in this county. And I think it's important to know, just to share, just at the state level alone right now, there's a $6.4 billion deficit in Medi-Cal. The states had to take out a loan already. So there's a structural deficit within the state before the feds even start looking at cuts on their own. So again, that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
I want to say thank you, but I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
But I do appreciate you, Lito.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next?
Ask Allison Burrows to come.
Thank you. Hi, Allison. Good morning. Welcome. Always nice to see you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. I wish I had some happier news. So I'm here to share some remarks as it pertains to the Behavioral Health Department and some of the impending impacts. So as the CIO's office has shared with your board, Kern Behavioral Health and Recovery Services is facing significant challenges due to the implementation of numerous new and upcoming mandates. Most of these new requirements are either unfunded or underfunded. Proposition 36 has required us to create new and expanded substance use services for justice-involved individuals. Care Court mandated the development of an entirely new treatment program and increased coordination with the courts. To prepare for Senate Bill 43, LPS reform, we're attempting to double our capacity across the crisis and substance use treatment continuum. Proposition 1 redirects 30% of our Mental Health Services Act funding from programming to housing subsidies. And as Bryn had previously mentioned, Senate Bill 525 introduces new minimum wage requirements for healthcare workers. Additionally, the state transitioned payments to county behavioral health departments to a new rate-based system under CalAIM. And Kern County's reimbursement rates are among some of the lowest in the state. Some of these changes have already taken effect, while others are anticipated in fiscal year 25-26 and beyond. Most of our non-Medi-Cal funding is tied to tax revenues and vehicle license fees, which are not only unstable, but also operate on a counter-cyclical basis. When the economy declines and the demand for our services increases, our funding decreases. We're also closely monitoring changes to Medicaid and federal grant funding, as Medicaid is our primary source of financial support for individuals with mental health and substance use needs in Kern County. Any reductions at that level will further impact our ability to sustain these essential services. As we continue to navigate these changes, our top priority is to minimize the impacts to both the community and our workforce. While the challenges are significant, we remain committed to making thoughtful, informed decisions that protect the quality of care. We're carefully managing our resources and pursuing cost-saving strategies to ensure that we can continue delivering reliable, accessible services to our Kern community. And that concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. I believe we had one more.
Jeremy Oliver.
Hi, Jeremy. Welcome back. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jeremy Oliver, your Director for Aging Adult Services. I too wish I had really positive news, but unfortunately there's a lot of changes that will impact the aging population, older adult services as well. These include impacts to the in-home supportive services program. As indicated, we have some realignment dollars that are tied to that, but the county also has an ongoing maintenance of effort. So there's a 4% escalation each year. Currently, we're at 14.2 million. Next year, that will shift to 15.2 million. And so each year, we will see that ongoing growth. We're hearing additional changes may be occurring at the state level with regards to the in-home supportive services program, which could include changes to the total number of clients that we'll be serving, as well as them taking over collective bargaining. And collective bargaining has to do with the provider wages. And so if the state becomes the employer of record, we're just not sure what that will change for our cost if they change the rates for providers, what that will, how that will impact our maintenance of effort moving forward. Obviously, any changes at the federal level related to the home and community-based services, as indicated with some of the things that are happening with Medicaid, will also have some impacts to the health and or to in-home supportive services program as well, as we rely on a federal drawdown of about 50% for those matches. So if they were to cap that at some point, that would also create additional challenges for us at a federal funding source. As well as other changes at the federal level have been health and human services. So the restructuring of the health and human services program has caused a shift from the administration of community living, which is where the Older Americans Act funding resides. At that health and human services, they are eliminating ACL moving forward, and they're going to break up Older Americans Act programs into 3 different branches within the health and human services programs. Some of the programs that actually are impacted by that would be Meals on Wheels, our state health insurance programs, or actually we call it HICAP, Health Insurance Counseling and Advocacy Program. We estimate to save about $3 million locally for folks using that program to help them navigate Medicare and figuring out the best options for them. Also, the Long-Term Care Ombudsman, the Disease Prevention and Family Caregiver Supports, and based off some of the leaks, those are some of the programs that were initially suggested as being eliminated at the federal level. There was some changes as well that ACL recently added adult protective services under a federal administration of community living. They haven't really funded it through the adult protective services, but it was one of the programs they were talking about eliminating. Where we currently receive our federal funding through adult protective services through the social service block grants. So we're watching very closely if they make any changes to that funding source. That'd be about another $2 million lost in terms of the local impacts. That concludes my remarks, but I'm available for any additional questions.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you heard from your department heads, the development of the recommended budget for next year is going to be challenging. So departments will need to be planning, doing strategies short-term, long-term, because those impacts, we're going to start feeling them as, you know, as you heard from your Director of Public Health. We already have an impact of public health. They were issued a stop notice. She's trying to mitigate. We'll use our realignment research to mitigate as possible, but that's one-time funding that at some point it will end. So there's going to be, if those, your county, our county has a policy about overmatch. What that means, we have made the policy as a county that we are not to backfill reduction of state and federal programs. The impacts are so severe that we believe we're going to have to look at that policy and really prioritize the programs that are important to our community and your board. So we need to protect our core county services. We need to prioritize safety net program, public safety, especially for those that serve our population. We will try to minimize the impacts to our workforce to the greatest extent possible. And of course, we're going to look at other revenue opportunities. The May revised budget comes out tomorrow. We'll have more information. The governor yesterday, proposed a new, one more change for behavioral health. You heard from your director of all the programs that they're having to implement that the state is passing to the county. Those are becoming challenging. We got one more yesterday regarding behavioral health and homelessness. We're going to have to redirect funding. We need to continue our mission-critical functions. We have in our realignment fund some reserves that will be utilized in next coming year to assist departments. But again, they're one-time funding. They're not sustainable in the long term. This is just buying us time to ensure that we have full information both from the state and the federal government. So as I stated, we are going to be prioritizing. We're going to have the May revise, and we'll bring to your board on June 24 our recommended preliminary budget for your board approval. But it is going to be challenging. We want to make sure that your board is informed and the public is informed as we develop this budget. That concludes our remarks, and we will be happy to answer any questions your board may have.
Well, thank you for all the good news.
Sorry.
I really appreciate your presentation. It's excellent. It's user-friendly, and a lot of this stuff, of course, is out of our hands right now. Thank you for the information, for the honesty. We have to work through this as a county, one way or another, whether we like it or not. So the transparent information, open lines of communication are really critical. Thank you. Thank you for the department heads and your helpful good news. Thank you. Supervisor Couch.
Thank you. Just a couple of really quick comments. I think the most important line in this your entire administrative report for our workforce is on page 5, the last page, where one of your budget planning goals is to minimize impacts to the county workforce to the greatest extent possible. What I think that means is keeping the most employed, tell me if I'm right, keeping the most people employed possible to provide the county service, the core county services that we need to provide.
That is correct, Supervisor. We are a service provider county. Our workforce is the one providing the services. So to the greatest possible, we'll keep our workforce. However, we cannot backfill every state and federal reduction.
I understand. So what are, I think in an effort to be just open and transparent about this, the methods to achieve minimizing those impacts aren't pretty, but it's
correct.
Hiring freezes, freezing of COLAs.
That is correct. You know, if there's not sufficient funding to provide an across-the-board COLA in July, there will not be one. We'll evaluate that as we hear the May revise. If there is programs that we cannot just use research or backfill, we might have impacts. We might have layoffs. Again, I don't want to scare anybody. This is not bad news. This is the reality we're living in.
So what I'm going to next say would exacerbate the situation, but I'd like us to just track this because I think this is a prudent budgeting technique. We're going to have some what I would consider one-time revenues, but in the sales tax area. For example, all the sales tax that's generated by the construction of Hard Rock. Or we've got a $500 million steel plant that's being built out in the desert, Pacific Steel. Can we track that? I recognize we may need the revenue to use it to address basic needs now, but one day we ought to recognize that type of revenue that's only going to come once as one-time revenue to be used on one-time expenses.
We do track those one-times, Supervisor Couch to the chair. We have a sales tax consultant, what we meet quarterly, and we have what we call our baseline revenue, businesses doing business in the county. And then we have what we call one-time projects. Those if you recall, we came to your board in January to recognize some of those one-times resources to put them in the budget for transparency, so everybody knows that we're getting those. So as we get those, we would definitely identify and bring them forward to your board so you're aware.
Thank you. And I'll make a motion to receive and file.
Thank you, Supervisor Couch, for the motion. We have Supervisor Peters first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I definitely understand that this is a difficult time. Moving forward, you know, we're seeing, like was said, a big deficit at the state, some uncertainty from the federal level. Just thinking through some of the stuff that we've seen in the past, you know, we've had different efforts at the county level, like Lean Six Sigma a few years ago, and I don't feel like I've heard anything about that program or what kind of savings we're seeing or what metrics we're looking to achieve with that, if we're still training employees with that. But another thing that I've heard by some people speaking here at the board chambers is, you know, they mentioned some of the government efficiency efforts that are happening at the federal level. And I would just be interested in exploring that. I'm not making a recommendation that there's a, this is what we need to do or cut here or anything like that, but I think it might be a prudent idea to look at maybe a third party or somebody, I don't know, to come in and look through what we're doing, see if we can identify any efficiencies, opportunities for improvement. Just looking through some of the budgets in the past, and I may not be reading this right, I haven't had time to discuss it with you, but I know there's an item coming up later about consolidating a county department, but looking back at one of the last times I could find that happened was with HR, and just a quick, little sketch of what the numbers look like. It looks to me like the increase in that budget has gone up 152%, while the county budget's gone up 94%. And that was identified as a move that we were making to streamline and improve efficiencies, which there may be reasons for that outsized increase in costs, but I don't know what those are. And I think that it's just a good general practice for us to go back and look at what we've done in the past, making sure that we're seeing the results that we want to see, and looking for other opportunities to improve on that, and just in an effort to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. So I would actually like to suggest maybe that we could form an ad hoc committee of this board just to look at that and consider best steps forward in trying to improve our efficiencies with the budget, and just making sure that we have a good handle on things moving forward.
Supervisor Peters, thank you for that. Are you making a request for that at this time?
I'm not sure if that's a request or a referral that needs to be made, or if that's a motion that we could form an ad hoc committee and discuss this in greater detail, but I'm not sure what would be appropriate. Maybe that's a question for county council.
I would like to hear how my colleagues feel about that. We're all kind of split up on 2 subcommittees right now, so that would require multiple membership, which of course could occur, but it would also require, I think, a sense that there's a need for such a thing. Thank you, Supervisor Peters. Colleagues, would you like to weigh in on that at this time? Supervisor Parlier.
Philip, do you think there's any standing committee that it potentially could fit into?
Yeah, very, very well could be. I'm not 100% sure. That's a good question.
How about we look at sticking in it, not sticking, but putting it in a standing committee, and I mean, we don't have to make the determination now. I mean, we could do it this afternoon potentially, or another meeting, but give us an opportunity to maybe visit that a little bit.
That's something you're interested in pursuing, Supervisor Peters?
Yeah, that works.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Supervisor Parlier, you're interested in pursuing this committee focus?
Through a standing committee, I think would be maybe an appropriate venue.
Okay. Anybody want to comment on that? Supervisor Jeff, do you have thoughts on that you want to add right now?
Sorry. I think the existing committee structure would make sense rather than another ad hoc. Nothing against the ad hoc, but what Supervisor Couch might know the standing committees, not to put you on the spot, but maybe which one would this be nested in most appropriately?
Finance and budget.
We have 5 of them, as I recall, and I think one is called the Finance and Administration.
Kathy says yes.
It would make sense
Thank
there.
you, Kathy.
Budget issue.
I think that would actually make sense to me.
And I'm good with that, if you're good with it, Philip.
Yeah.
So thank you, Kathy.
So it doesn't change the mission, it just rests in a certain committee.
Got it. Okay. Isn't this interesting? Okay, so here are our 5 standing committees: Public Safety, Health and Social Services, Planning and Public Works, Culture, Education and Recreation, and then Finance and Administration. And of course, on that are the 2 lifelong BFF members of this board, Supervisor Couch and yours truly. So I think that's interesting. And I like the makeup, actually, Couch, because of the optics largely, but that's just a thought. And so I'd be happy to explore that with you, and I frankly think it makes sense for us both, me to be on that with you as we try to balance out perspectives, if you will, Supervisor. Your thoughts, gentlemen?
But I think that template works well because you guys did great work on elections.
We sure have, thanks to, so much pushing and prodding and collaboration with these great folks here, concerned citizens. Supervisor Peters, how do you feel about that?
I'm okay. I mean, I have great respect for both of you. I have some kind of particular thoughts that I'd like to share, but I would be happy to do that through whatever would be the right channel.
Thank you, Supervisor Peters. Well, it looks like the universe will not allow Supervisor Couch and I to decouple, as they say. So here we are, Couch. We can decide to respond to that, with the right kind of heart and the right kind of interest. That's our choice, right? So, Supervisor Couch?
I think yes, we will respond appropriately.
Wonderful.
To respond to you directly, but here's what my request is of Supervisor Peters. I think I understand what you're looking for, but I want to make sure of that. So rephrase a sort of a formal referral to this committee so we actually address what you want us to address.
Sure. I think, let me think of the best way to put this. I would like for us to consider the possibility of getting an outside company, individual, or identifying some third party that could come and take a look at our budgets and help us get a fresh set of eyes on where we can identify efficiencies and opportunities for operational improvements in our budgets.
I appreciate that, Supervisor. I can't imagine a human being alive today who would do a better job of looking at that than Supervisor David Couch.
Well, I can imagine one, and it's Elsa Martinez.
Oh, okay, well, there it is.
At least one.
You conjured it up right on the spot. How excellent. Yes, Elsa, your thoughts.
Madam Chair and members of the board, I think it's a great idea. I just want to, since this came up twice already, the Lean Six Sigma, I want to give your board an update. Your board haven't heard because we as the CAO made a big push to ingrain that in county departments. We facilitated, we did the training. Then now we're at the phase that I think county departments needs to take the ownership. We facilitated the contract with the third party still, where departments can opt in to train their staff. We have not made it a policy that every employee needs to be trained. And so if your board wishes to do that, we can do that. But now we have ingrained that into departments. We did a great push on departments to understand the savings. I think looking at all our options are a great idea. Tonight, and just for clarification to Supervisor Peters, talking about HR funding. If you recall your board, we have Measure K, and your board made a priority and the community made a priority public safety. And part of public safety is recruiting those individuals. So we did provide additional funding to HR through Measure K. Tonight, we'll have a discussion with the committee at 5:30, I believe. We're going to look at those priorities again, and then those recommendations from the committee are going to come back to your board again. So that's part of the discussion. I think having your board engaged and having understanding other than, CAO or departments is a great opportunity. These are going to be challenging times, and we cannot, we cannot do efficiency federal cuts. You have 10 million, you heard your director of public health. She has done restriction of travel, canceled contracts. She still has $10 million hole that she needs to cover. We're gonna work with her to try to mitigate, but at the end of the day, I don't know how you efficiently cut $10 million in such a short time. I think we have enough reserves to buy us some time. Hopefully, there's gonna be changes at the federal level that will restore some of that funding. We don't know what the state is gonna do. The state might backfill. They might make public health a priority and make backfill some of that funding. We just don't have that information yet.
Supervisor Couch? Good, got it. Supervisor Peters? Okay, so Staff South, was that you? Okay, got it. Frankly, I like the idea. I think Supervisor Couch and I work very well together. We have very different skills, and I learn from him every time. And so it looks like we have some public comment. And so come on down and give your thoughts, please, on where you see this going. I see Janine Adams. Good morning again, Janine.
Good morning, Janine Adams, Tehachapi. Gosh, This seems like there's a lot of work to be done at the Legislative Affairs Committee, yes, Standing Committee, I think. You know, these changes at the federal level are causing additional problems at the state, which will then ultimately affect us, right? And this is why the state of California in the legislature, I've spoke to this body before about Assembly Joint Resolution number 3 by Chavo, where we're asking our state legislatures to stand together for our communities with regard to Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, okay? And I've asked this body to use their influence, as they do through the Legislative Affairs Committee, to ask people like Shannon Grove, who is not signed on yet, as a signer to AJR number 3. We've had Dr. Bain sign on already. We've had Melissa Hurtado has signed on. We have not heard from Stan Ellis, who is new to the Assembly District. He has not signed on, and neither has Senator Grove. These are people, these are Republicans that we have 4 Republicans on this board. Both of the Democrats that represent this area have already signed on to AJR number 3. And again, I would ask that this body ask the Legislative Affairs Committee to use their influence. Thank you.
Thank you, Janine. Just for context, that you know, the United States of America has 50 states, essentially, and 3,069 counties. There are 3,069 counties in America. Anything that happens in America, that it happens through Congress or through respective states, only gets implemented and only has impact at the county level. We are the only ones who will deal with this, because what happens at the federal level and what happens at the state level is simply lawmaking decisions, votes, one way or the other. Eventually, all of that gets implemented through the executive arms of the United States of America called the counties. So there is no trickling down to the counties. Everything is the counties. The people in DC and the people in California who are legislators, they will vote, they will pass laws, and then they go home. They have no implementation arm. They really don't do anything. They simply pass laws, and then they implement them through the 3,069 counties. So literally all of this is our problem, one way or the other. And we're gonna work through it together as a county, but just try to remember, the DC and Sacramento, wherever you fall on the political spectrum, because those are 2 different bodies, and they're made up differently politically. Ultimately, whatever they do, they simply are sending it down to the counties to be implemented. 3,069 local, actors in play by the county. So this is our problem. We will have to address it together. And I hope that we can do that respectfully and civilly. I think we can. We've demonstrated that time and time again. But nobody else is suffering with this. No federal government or state government is suffering with this, because they really only pass laws, write legislation, and take votes. They don't do anything else. And those are important jobs, but that's what they do. We do all the work. Donnie Youngblood personally is responsible to answer up on public safety for the near 1 million people in Kern County, one of 58 counties of California, of 3,069 counties across the country. So you better believe this is all of our problem. Mike, it looks like you're coming up. Nice to see you. Good morning and welcome.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Mike Turnipseed, I represent the Kern County Taxpayers Association. This sounds like the come to Jesus meeting. I've been here coming 20 years, and in those 20 years, we've seen a lot of change. We've seen recessions, we've seen this, we've seen that, but I really think you're seeing fundamental change. And I don't know the exact percentage, but of the $4.6 billion, how much of that is federal money and how much of that is state money versus local money? It's what, 2/3 external, 1/3 maybe, sales tax and everything.
Right.
And attitudes and things are changing. The fork of the road is here. And like you mentioned, everything in the United States flows downhill to the 3,069 counties. And you're stuck with the mess and handling all the bad decisions up the road. But something fundamental, I don't think the days of where the federal government is going to continue to deficit spend it the way they're doing. They can't. There is a reckoning coming. They come to Jesus Day. And I think it'll be a day, and it might as well start now. And I think you're lucky that you don't have to have a June 30th deadline. You have 2 or 3 extra months into August, because I think you're going to need that time as you look in the mirror and the state budget finalizes and everything, that it's going to be worse than what it is today.
Yes, it is.
And I used to talk about the old concept of zero-based budgeting. There'll be a time when the 5 of you will have to really start looking in the mirror when federal money goes away. And it's not just funding. The grants that you live on, they're going away.
Yep.
Locally, Kern Health Systems on healthcare investment and money to hospitals and everything, that's going to be reduced. This is very difficult times, and I'm glad I'm toward the end of my road and not the beginning.
Thanks.
Because I'd hate to see what the next 20 years are going to be like.
We appreciate that.
But I feel sorry for my grandkids. That's what I feel sorry for. So when we think about solving, we can't think 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. I think we need to look at the whole model. Zero-based, every expenditure, every department, every service, every process really needs to be on the table and prioritized.
All the grants to nonprofits, we
Grants,
need to
the
look at the
nonprofit,
results.
well, that's
of what they
going to
do.
be our own at Kern Health Systems. We're going to have to do our own changing, but because you're not really directed to that money, that comes from the feds and the state directly. But how many local agencies, not just your budget, we had the KGA, we had your earlier presentation today. They live on federal funds. What's going to happen when their budgets are cut? This is a tsunami.
It is a tsunami.
And so you're the top of the pyramid in the county. So I think it's going to take your leadership and bringing other providers in and say, how are we as a community, CAP-K, Kern Health Systems, all the major people who depend on outside money, because it is going to go away. And I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I don't know how to solve the problem, but I think you're going to have to rebuild local government because it cannot survive as we know it today.
You're right.
So my condolences. It's going to be a tough job. Also, you can't retire for another 10 years because you have to settle the problem. But there's my good message for the day, and thank you for the opportunity. Does anybody have a question or anything? If not, I'll sit down. Thank you.
Mike, for everything. We'll have lots of conversations coming forward. Any other public comment? Please come forward.
Madam Chair, I punched in. I just wanted to respond to a couple of those comments.
Forgive me, Supervisor Peters, and I'm so sorry for your public speaker. We'll get to you in just one moment. Supervisor Peters.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I just wanted to thank Mr. Turnipseed for those comments. I think you're absolutely right. We're going to have to look at things not just at the service level, but really dig into it and look at fundamentally how business is carried out. You mentioned zero-based budgeting. I think every option needs to be considered. I know the state of Georgia has looked into that. There's some entities at the federal level that are looking into that, and that might be one of a host of options that we need to consider. But I appreciate your comments, and I definitely think it's time we start looking at how we're doing business in light of what the future's looking like financially. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Peters. We have another public speaker. Thank you for your patience. Welcome.
Hi. Sorry, I just literally ran over here. Karen Bassard.
You put the mic down, Karen.
My name's Karen Bassard. I've worked for the county for 19 years. So when I started, employees were valued. We got increases. They weren't huge, they were 3% here and there. Then the recession hit, and we didn't receive none of the bargaining contract negotiations received anything. We're in a recession. If you had given a 1% COLA or something, minimal during those hard periods, we wouldn't be in the place we are today. SEIU employees do not get increments. We only get the COLAs. So if you freeze those, we're gonna still be far behind. Some of us, you guys are talking about lack of funding and increases and stuff. I've talked to you guys before about my bills, just standard bills, and I'm $338 in the hole every month. I'm actually over $400 because my rent went up $180. I did trade in my car, which brought down my car insurance and my car payment down, so I made up the $80 and my rent a little bit. One thing that you guys are wasting money on is hiring new employees at the rate you guys are. Training, onboarding, because you guys are going through, so you can't keep employees, that's not cost effective. When I started here, values were respected and valued. That's not happening at any level. Departments, we'll just replace you. What kind of mentality is that for your workers? The county used to be a career, not a job. So now the county is onboarding so many people, and they can't keep up with the demand of the services that we provide, that they just throw these employees out there on the floor. 6 months training. It takes at least 2 years to get to know your job, where you're comfortable, where you're able to do your job well. You're always going to be learning. But I have this question for you. Couch and Perez, you guys run for office. And one of those things you do is experience. You guys have experience. Mm-hmm. So if you're running against someone who's new to that, you bank on that experience. You have experienced employees who are struggling, who are making minimum wage, who actually have Medi-Cal, food stamps. They collect on those. That shouldn't be happening here. And freezing COLAs, the first thing you guys want to do, you guys talk about all these emergencies and everything else and these costs. Employees don't go anywhere. You need the employees. Not once in my 19 years have I ever heard, well, we budgeted for employees and their raises to make sure that they have a life that they can live. Not once. But the first thing to do, and it's usually SEIU employees, is you freeze us, you don't give us COLAs, you don't give us raises, and that's the first thing you guys cut. And that needs to stop. You guys really need to look at the training, the onboarding, how the departments treat their employees in order to keep those employees you guys are bringing in. Because our work is hard. I'm a legal secretary. I have 2 other coworkers. We used to have 4. Now we only have 3. And you think it's, oh, that's only 1 person. Well, it's 2 people if somebody goes on vacation, maybe someone calls out sick. So we went from 4 people to 3 people, and there's not going to be a replacement. And that's not just in my department, that's in all departments. And I understand that there are some issues regarding at the federal, state, and local levels regarding funding. But you guys cutting the employees that gives these services and discounting them is the wrong action. what needs to be looked at, one of your Lean Six Sigmas, is to look at the onboarding, the training, and valuing your employees at all levels. And also, when I was bargaining Lean Six Sigma with Mr. Brown, that was part of county policy. They made it county policy for all new employees to be trained in that. So, just an FYI. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Other public speakers, please come down. Now is the time. Give us your thoughts. Welcome.
Hi, my name's Robert Hooks. A quick comment on the last comments. I think you guys probably know this. And there's a range of numbers and thoughts on this, but generally speaking, it can cost up to 100% of a person's salary to replace them. That's why the emphasis is on recruiting and retaining. So I think there's a lot of legitimacy to what she was just saying.
For sure.
On the other topics, so thank you all for the early notification on the budget and the transparency. Looking forward to that continuing. When there were some comments before on working with Washington and Sacramento to work on the problem, I kind of got the impression, and I could be wrong, that we feel like we don't have much say on what goes on in Sacramento and Washington. And I don't think that's what you meant, but that's kind of what I heard. And I don't think it's true, and I'm not big on all the internals of politics, but essentially, with Valadeo and Fong, I mean, those seem to be two avenues, because a lot of what we've talked about today are just basically impacts from federal government, and then what Sacramento does and all that stuff, like you say, trickles down. So I do presume that you guys do have some leverage and influence, and hopefully that you guys can use that. And then the last thing, I think, a lot of the comments on Six Sigma and whatnot, and everything being on the table, including zero-based budgets, I've been involved in those in the past in my career, and I think they have their place, and I think you guys should really not have anything off the table. And then the other thing that was mentioned earlier, I think that's important, is I think it was Councilman Peters mentioned metrics. And really, that's what you need to prove that you are attaining your goals, right? And having a plan and then having everybody bless that plan and everybody go and do their thing without any accountability and knowing whether you're achieving what your objectives are really is just kind of a silly exercise, right? Because you're just going to find yourself doing that all over again. So I do think where you guys hire somebody from the outside, use Six Sigma, or use your staff. Your staff seems great to me. Figure out what those metrics are to determine whether you are achieving your goals, if you're going in the right direction, going at the right pace, and those types of things.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Any other input at this time? Okay, we have two separate matters. We have the subcommittee issue to deal with after Couch's motion to receive and file. Any other statements, gentlemen? Chris Peters, is this from now or earlier? Thank you so much. It looks like Chris Parlier was, no?
If we still need a second on receive and file, I'll do it.
Thank you. We have a second on receive and file. Having received public comment and closed the public comment portion, I would ask my colleagues for a vote on the motion to receive and file. And again, to staff, thank you so much. Thank you.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Okay, that handles matter number 39. But I do want to address the issue as raised by the subcommittee. I want my colleagues to know I am happy, thrilled, honored, humbled to get Supervisor Couch's coffee during these events while he's working really hard to get to the bottom line. So those are my thoughts. I know Supervisor Couch would be uniquely qualified and gifted at this role. Those are my thoughts, but I'd like to hear from you too. Anybody?
Do we need a motion?
I think so, for a referral.
Okay, I'll make that motion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Peters. We have a second.
Can we restate the referral so the clerk is confident on what we're doing?
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. I'm making a motion that the Finance Committee consider efforts to streamline or find efficiencies or improvements in our budget, considering hiring a third party to look at it, just considering a wide range of what we can do to find efficiencies. Not a very eloquent motion, but I'm trying to figure out how to couch that all under one heading.
It's a perfect motion. So we have a motion,
Second.
and we have a second. Supervisor Flores, please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, all ayes.
Okay. Supervisor Couch, next we're going to have to vacation together. After all this, it looks like we'll have no choice. And it's not far. Okay, excellent. We've managed that. We have one last item. Please forgive me. I know it's been a long morning, but we do have a non-agenda item to add to our closed session. So if I could at this time, put forth a non-agenda item, motion to consider the non-agenda item number 71, make a finding that the need to take action on a non-agenda matter occurred after the agenda was posted on Thursday, May 8, 2025. A federal jury recently returned a verdict which favors the County of Kern, yay, and County Council wishes to brief the Board of Supervisors on said verdict.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Couch. We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, all ayes.
Thank you. That adds item 71 to closed session, and with a motion, we will adjourn and be back at 2.
Motion adjourned.
Thank you, Jeff. Supervisor Flores, we are adjourned.